Trump praising China for apparently honoring the trade truce, tweeting in part very strong signals being sent by China. I believe President Xi meant every word of what he said at our long and hopefully historic meeting. So if trade opens up again, how will it impact the markets after this roller coaster week? Here now to weigh in on that is CPA and small business advocate Gene Marks. Gene, thanks for coming on this morning. Things may be looking better with China. What do you think?
I would have said that if we were having this conversation a day or so ago, Rob, but just overnight there's been a fairly large scandal that's been developing with a global Chinese firm called Huawei. Right. And their CFO was arrested in Canada, and the U.S. want to extradite him back. That could throw a little wrench into the China trade thing. So listen, if you're investing in the markets, we still have a ways to go. It's just a truce with China right now. So we're going to be seeing some more bumps in the markets now as things that way get worked out. I'm optimistic that there will be a trade deal eventually.
Yeah. This CFO, apparently she was arrested or is in custody in Canada. They want to bring her back to the United States for violating the sanctions with Iran. Which is a concern with China, that they will violate sanctions with North Korea, with Iran, because they don't play by anybody's rules. They really don't care. Do you think will that screw this up?
Yeah, what I think is going to happen is that China could very well retaliate, and for all we know, they decide to arrest some American executives. It certainly is not a good thing if we're trying to generate some goodwill between the two parties. This is a large global telecom company, and being accused of violating the Iran trade deal, those are pretty serious accusations. So all of that, I think, is going to play into these discussions. The Dow futures right now are expected to drop like 400 points at the market open, which is about 2%. So again, if you're the individual investor, don't get spooked. There's going to be some choppy waters over the next few months. A lot of things going on in the economy. I still think the fundamentals are there, and I think the market will be strong long term over 2019. But just be aware, events like this could affect you.
When you look at all these trade deals and all these things that the president talks about when America is, getting taken advantage of, our whole system is wrapped around all of these things already. And changing these things means a lot of growing pains, and things will probably get worse before they get better, which is probably why no politician has ever wanted to touch any of these things. This is politically really tough to do, but is it the right thing to do, what the president's trying to do?
Rob, I got to tell you, I mean, we represent my firm, 600 small business owners. I'm 53 years old. I've never fought in a war before. I mean, I've never really sacrificed like the generations before me. I think the president is asking us, particularly in the business community, listen, maybe we do take a hit in 2019. Maybe there are some things that we're going to have to sacrifice, a few less dollars in profit for the long term to get these trade deals with a country like China the way it really should be for future generations. And you know what? When I speak to most of my clients, people that are my age, even younger, I think a lot of business people are prepared for that. We're not thrilled about it, but it is something that we're willing to sacrifice. And I think the president's got more support than a lot of people might believe.
When you want to make a big change, sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. That's part of the deal. All right, let's talk about taxes, because everybody loves to pay taxes, right? The bad news is you got to start thinking about it, because we're coming up on the end of the year. We do have some tips here. Let's start off with the tips for individuals, and let's bring up that information on your screen. Do the pro forma return, ask about the standard deduction, max out the retirement plan contributions, and put money away in a 529 plan. Give us just a sum up here, Gene.
Yeah, very quickly. I know we have a lot to cover, but listen, if you're an individual taxpayer, meet with your accountant now. Have your accountant do a pro forma, in other words, forecast what your tax is going to be this year. The big deal for you, Rob, and for me, the standard deduction has doubled this year, and that might preclude you from itemizing your deductions and having to keep all those receipts and make your tax return that much more easier to file. So talk to your accountant about that now. Today's like December 6th, right? So you got some time, right, to plan those things out.
But a lot of people are losing that SALT deduction too. That's going to hurt.
Yeah, a lot of people are. It is, but then again, we're gaining a lot from the standard deduction. And don't forget, individual rates have fallen significantly for a lot of the middle class.
Right. And let's talk about the small business tips here real quick, because we do have to do those. We have a lot of small business people. Do a forecasted tax return for 2018. Buy capital equipment and use it. What are your tips for the small businessman?
So again, meet with your accountant, make sure that you're fully taking advantage of the pass-through deduction, or you might want to change your entity status from a C corporation to an S corporation. You might want to make some changes that will affect 2019. The big thing is, Robin, you mentioned it, you buy capital equipment. Remember, you don't have to pay for a capital equipment purchase, buy it, get financing at relatively low interest rates going on now, put it into service before the end of the year, you could get up to $1 million deduction with some of the new rules in tax reform. Take advantage of that.
Gene, we love it. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time, and we'll be right back.